Nobody really knows how to handle tough cases like the God of the Bible. And his name, of course, as you know, is Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. And I'm your host, Dr. N.D. Audu, the man of God from Nigeria, Africa, but living here in the United States of America. And I'm so glad coming to you, presenting to you something that will totally revolutionize your life. I'm holding in my hand one of my dynamic book series known as The God Who Raises the Dead. The God who specializes in raising the dead. Jesus said it very clearly, God is not the God of the dead, but He is the God of the living. That means what? He specializes in reversing what death can do among human families. And I'm so glad to be very instrumental in the hands of God that since the 1980s, as God told me in the 70s of course, but early 1980s I had my breakthrough in the aspect of seeing God using a human being in the modern time to raise somebody from the dead. It all began with the story of a little boy who died in our town in Nigeria. And I was called on to the situation and ministering to raise the boy seemed to be like a failure. I didn't successfully do it right. I flunked or I failed the test the first time, and then a few months after that again I fell again for the second time, but I refused to quit as God gave me courage to keep on learning, and I learned from my mistakes. Then the third time, the fourth time I had the breakthrough, then the fifth time, the 10th time, the 15th, 20 now. I have learned from God Himself, who is the author and the expert and the specialist of raising the dead, how now to become instrumental in raising other people that have died prematurely or those who are dying prematurely, to bring them back to life or to give them leases over their lives again. And so God is really helping me, and through our website, which is mymiracletv.org, as well as raisingthedead.org, a lot of ministers, gospel preachers from all denominations and religious people who are really turning to Christ and their lives have changed. They are discovering also through our teachings now. It has become an international phenomenon now that God is using this ministry to trailblaze and teach a lot of people how we can get the job done by stopping the madness of the devil and the spirit of death that has been killing people prematurely, especially our young ones, boys and girls who have died without fulfilling their God-given destinies. I had the joy just about a couple of years ago, a minister in India happened to get my book series, and prior to this he was having some funeral services, burying the dead, and God allowed my books to get into his hands. And in the books I taught him about the how, when, where, what to do, how to do it, who to deal with it, and he learned the intricacies of the raising the dead. And I want you to get this something, because once you master it, death will not scare you, rather you will become a terror to death, and you will be God's instrument of solving problems, of wiping away people's tears of sorrows and anguish from their lives, and seeing them being devastated in no way anymore, because God can use you to solve their problems for His glory. And so this man of God in India read the book, studied and got the whole information and the revelation into his own heart. And guess what? I received testimony from him how God used him on 3 different occasions. He raised the dead. And this is somebody now who contacted me and told me and sent me these powerful testimonies. But then there are others around the world who have, since the 1980s, who saw my first book, I Love Raising the Dead, they saw the book, and they studied what I wrote in the book. I was interviewed on television stations and radios. Journalists asked me questions, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? And I put all of this revelation and this information on the book form now to open up the eyes of multitudes of people, maybe tens of thousands and millions of people that can learn about this secret. It's right there in the Bible. But we have ignored it for years, particularly in the church. And now God is pouring His Spirit and helping believers like you and I, that we can turn the heat against the devil and expose his wickedness and his weaknesses, but also by bringing the power of God in display, the love of God in display, and the compassion of God in display, so that we can see stupendous miracles happening in our lives and our ministries and our churches. Again, this is Dr. Andy Audu. I want to encourage you, go to mymiracletv.org as well as raisingthedead.org, and you will get all the information you need about how you can become successfully used by God to put the devils out of business. God bless you.